Rugby Africa President Herbert Mensah says he believes breaking down the continent into regions will grow the level of competition and quality of the sport on the continent. Ghana's Mensah recently spoke exclusively to CGTN and laid out his plan to grow the level of competition over the next 2 years as he serves his first term as the head of the continental governing body following his election last month.
What we're trying to do is I think the biggest challenge that Africa faces more so than other continents is that people look at Africa as one. Yes, we are one, that's part of our motto, but we are so diverse, so absolutely diverse. Let me give you examples. In order to tackle Africa, the problems, the wishes, the dreams, we have embarked as part of our program in respecting and splitting Africa into regions. So we got Southern, we got Eastern, we got Western, we got North. As we speak now, the Southern region have already moved forward very quickly to establish a presidency of Southern Africa. I think that is headed by Lesotho, a vice president, a treasurer, an organizer, and so on and so forth. What does that mean to me in terms of our program? We've already embarked on negotiations with SARU to make sure that SARU, for example, will assist us in ensuring that they get playtime. There are leagues, North Natal, in Mpumalanga League, where they can go and play. And in their playing in those leagues, will then give playtime. Competitions will then be developed from that in order to move forward. So that for us is critical. If we look at, for example, the part of the world that you're in, I think fundamentally, in order to bridge the gap between those in tier one, who have almost locked it off, i.e., if you're not part of tier one, it's almost impossible to get and become part of that, is to look and say, how and why and in what context can we revive the Victoria Cup? Is it possible, for example, to add a Madagascar? What then do we do with an Algeria, which is so far away and not part of the Victoria Cup? Because if you now have Zim and Uganda and Kenya, as well as Madagascar, for example, in an ideal situation, playing together, then you've got some of the best nations in Africa playing together in a tournament that is then in a standalone position, where we know it's not just let's play a competition for competition's sake, but it's being developed in a way with recognition from World Rugby, where we can raise the rankings of those nations and the status of where they're going. You will find that to play at a certain level, all the tier one countries are playing a minimum, I think, of 8 internationals a year at top levels. They play amongst themselves, whereas in Africa, because of a lack of funding, we're not able to do that. How often do nations play rugby amongst themselves? Some nations in Africa do not play at all. So when we come through to West Africa, what kind of a league can we actually organize between the smaller nations who are not up to the level of those in East Africa? Say, La Côte d'Ivoire and Senegal. What can we do there? And we're planning for regional type leagues in those kind of situations. So by breaking Africa up into segments, recognizing the different cultures, the different transportation issues, the different areas for sponsorship, because we don't have a national airline or an airline that does all of Africa. We have Ethiopian, but we don't have one that does all. We don't have one television station, which for example, is ensuring that we have coverage right the way across Africa, given Francophone, given Anglophone. So by taking it piecemeal, taking it in regionally, we'll be able to tackle the issues of playtime, as well as how we raise money, how we involve governments, how we involve institutions, and then see how we get through 2023, knowing that 2024 should be the year that we make major impact.